Hello, I'm Ivy.
And I'm James, and welcome to Chief Fine Tea's drinking of honeysuckle Phoenix Mountain Oolong Tea, my absolute favorite tea in the entire world, and I drink it almost every single day of the year.
Yeah, and this is the honeysuckle. It's very beautiful leaves. They're about same size and really small. That means when the tea grow out, it's not like really old leaves, like really big. The when we do the tea, we decided which tea we're gonna do. That is one of the tea quality judging thing, if the size of the leaves are beautiful or not. And we're gonna try this tea right now.
Okay, less talking, more brewing. I want to drink the tea.
等一下 honey. Let me warm up the cup and we'll smell the dry fragrance. Okay.
I already know what the dry fragrance smells like. Let's go directly to the drinking.
Honey, just a second.
I mean, they can't smell the dry fragrance anyway. It's on a video.
honey. This is a tea quality judge part.
That's one of the greatest fragrances in the entire world. Actually, I think the absolute finest thing I've ever had the pleasure of being next to fragrance-wise was at night on Phoenix Mountain in either the spring or the fall, mostly the fall, when they're harvesting the fall honeysuckle and the osmanthus flowers, the sweet osmanthus flowers, the guihua, are blooming at the same time. So you get the sweet osmanthus flowers, which is a little bit of taste and fragrance of that in this tea, and then they're roasting the tea, and then you walk around the town or the mountain at night, and you smell those osmanthus and this baking tea, and oh my God, there's nothing that smells better than that, except the possibility of some gardenias from China. Those two are the best fragrances in the world for me.
Yeah. It just smells so good.
That just reminds me of just walking around.
It's a lot of wild flower, and because it's a dry tea fragrance, it's hard to say which type of wild flowers. It's really a high rising fragrance, and also because it's dry tea, it have a little bit like the flower. How to say? 花粉, the flower pollen.
The pollen, yeah.
The pollen fragrance, really nice. Also a little bit similar to the rice, the 糯米叶子, honey.
Oh, that sticky rice leaves, those green leaves from sticky rice that people sometimes use to wrap things up and such.
Yeah, the sticky rice leaf fragrance. Really nice. We'll brew this one right now.
You know, when I first was making some desserts in China and I used pandan leaf, some of my friends kept smelling, wow, where'd you get the sticky rice leaves? I said, no, these are pandan leaves. And they said, no, that's sticky rice. And I said, no, this is pandan. I said, oh, nope, that's sticky rice leaves. And that was the end of the discussion. And speaking of end of discussion, it's time to start drinking. So here, first one for you.
Thanks,
I almost gave that to myself, but I figured, hey, we're on camera. I might as well look like I'm a gentleman. So gave it to Ivy first, and I spilled. Yeah, well.
It's okay, cutie.
Oh, that fragrance is it's just ephemeral. It's floating and wonderful and soul cleansing. And
wow.
Even though this is the first infusion, it tastes just fantastic.
It's a very happy and energetic feeling, young boy kind of feeling. Yeah.
I don't know about the young boy feeling, but I would say young wildflowers. But,
yeah.
Actually, for me, this feeling, this happy feeling, this smile that I can't get off my face, reminds me of touching something plush. When I say plush, I mean kind of like, this isn't really what I was looking for, but I couldn't find anything super plush. Maybe a little bit thicker than this. You just rub it and you feel like, oh, you kind of melt into it and everything is great and you're happy and it's warm. And that's the feeling I get when I drink this tea, but not something like that, something a little bit plusher. And that's why I drink it almost every single day, because it is just a fantastic tea. It is my favorite tea of all, and it always will be. Oh,
Here you
thank you,
go,
honey.
another cup, honey.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. The first infusion, the fragrance is very, very floating, and it's very, very strong, but very light though. It has so many of the floral notes in that plushy feeling note. Even my nose feels like it's plush inside.
Yeah.
Don't ever throw
Oh
away the
my
first
God,
infusion.
honey.
Don't ever throw away the first infusion of this tea. Ever, ever,
Honey,
ever.
smell
There's
it.
no rinse for this.
Smell it.
Ah.
The wet fragrance is even richer because it got wet and more flavor and fragrance molecules comes out. It has more fruity and also stronger, more richer and different type of wildflower fragrance comes out. Like honeysuckle, those really rising, kind of jumpy flowers for me. Yeah.
Now that's one of the benefits of doing it Gongfu tea style is you get to have every infusion taste a little different. How many beverages are like that? Because they're all pre-made, they're all pre-done. You get a cup of this or a bottle of that. The concentration isn't changing. The only thing that's really going to change is the temperature. And the temperature will make different flavors and fragrances, but not nearly as much as this. You get a huge variance in flavors and fragrances, and that's why brewing this Gongfu tea style is great. You can still do it grandpa style. You got a cup, you got another cup, you put the tea in here, you pour it back and forth with a strainer, and you do it. Sure, you can do that. That's not grandpa style, though. Sorry. You can do it grandpa style when you just pour the tea in there and you infuse it, but what a waste when you can do it this way.
Yeah, because you want to experience the changing of every brew, keep getting better and better. And that's the full spirit and idea of Gongfu tea. Yes.
And there's, of course, a chemical reason for that. Oh, I just got to hold on a second with the chemical reason and just enjoy that tea. Oh.
Okay, I'm going to tell them also another reason that we're poured directly into those 3 small cups, the Chaozhou Gongfu tea style, not pouring into a sharing cup, is because this tea, because it's very floral and fragrance really rising, you want to drink it when it's really hot, because that way the fragrance and flavor comes out better and you experience it better. Then, because after you pour into the sharing cup, it cools down and lose some of the fragrance and the flower. And this way, in a really small cup, it's not like super crazy hot. If you use a big pot, drink it, like pour it out right away, and also you can experience the fragrance better. So that's another reason for the Gongfu tea style, the Chaozhou Gongfu tea style.
And Ivy sat me down one time and had me taste the exact same brew. She poured the first one into a cup, and then she poured the second one into the sharing cup, and then I poured that into the other 2 cups. The difference was quite noticeable. I was surprised, and it is definitely worth it to do it this way versus doing the sharing cup. So let's take a look at a visual representation of what's happening in the tea leaves as they're hydrating, because each time you brew, you're starting off with a lighter kind of a fragrance and flavors, the ones that are the most volatile, the ones that are coming out the most easily. Those are the lowest molecular weight. So we start going up and up and up and up and up. Then we get to the deeper, richer flavors, and we reach the apex. Then it starts going down, down, down as you get toward the end of the brewing life. Now, what's happening is, let's take a look at some bread slices that have been soaked from the outside in to give you what it looks like as a cross section of the tea leaves. So first of all, this is something with nothing. This is just a tea leaf that's dry. Well, there's nothing in there, and it's just the regular color. And the second one is going to be this one. This is the first infusion. A little bit of water, represented by the blue color, starts to go in. And the most important thing is, as it goes in, it extracts molecules to bring out into your tea. So as you progressively brew, not only does your tea leaf get larger, but it also gets a little bit thicker, because the hydration is making it wider and thicker, getting it back to its original size more. And as you continue successive brews, you're getting more and more and more, to the point where actually now they're getting a little too wet. So I'm going to just put this together here and you can see it. that's what it looks like. Notice that the final one is fully hydrated, and it's also the thickest and the biggest because that's exactly what happens with the leaves. No, okay, stop for a second. I've got a cup of tea. Flavors are definitely changing.
Yeah. This brew opens up more and more flavor comes out and higher fragrance, stronger fragrance. The high mountain feeling is really obvious too.
Yeah, it's like in the back of my head and my brain and going out, and it's just such a nice, pleasant, internal plushy feeling.
Yeah.
So back to some of the molecules. And once you get to the middle of the tea leaf, the middle of the tea leaf is cellulose. That's wood. It's no longer water soluble. This is what's providing the structure for the leaf so that it'll stay open so that during the daytime when the sun is hitting it, it will be able to photosynthesize. This is also kind of sticky chemically, and a lot of the molecules that are flavor and fragrance molecules coming out are sticky chemically as well. So these have an attraction to each other. Water is very sticky chemically too, but it's really small. So you got to get it in there and really start to tug hard to break those molecules away from this. And that's the competition we're looking for. And then as you're brewing it and adding the water in and you're pouring it out and brewing it and pouring it out, there's a lot of motion in there, and that motion is also helping to dislodge some of those molecules. A lot of stuff going on in the tea leaves. Man, there's really interesting. The chemistry behind that is just fascinating. Never get bored with studying tea.
Yeah. Another brew. This is the fourth brew, yeah.
And that would be this one. So take a look at the tea leaves. It's not even really open yet.
Yeah, it's not open yet. Can brew a lot of brew out of this one. At least 12 brew. It will just keep going and getting better and better. And you can just experience the whole changing.
Oh, that is just so nice. Every time I drink this tea, I'm so happy and I smile. No matter how bad the weather is, no matter how bad the day is, no matter how good it is and how great the weather is, the effect is almost the same. I'm always super happy and very, very calm and, well, maybe not calm, but at least very, very happy.
This tea is so high fragrance, but it changes, unfortunately, because it's like very humid and hot over there in Chaozhou and Phoenix Mountain. Usually, this tea at the very first several months, it will be very high fragrance style. Then it changes. We call it 反清, green come back, because they absorb a lot of humidity from the air, so it goes a little violet. It's not correct flavor.
Violet is off center, by the way. That's what that violet means, off center.
It's not a correct flavor anymore, so they have to bake it again. So that's why in Chaozhou City, a lot of time that when you drink a tea, it's heavily roasted. It kind of lose the really beautiful part of this tea, which is the very first several months, the very high fragrance, really floral way. It's become more baked flavor, and some people like it, but of course most people prefer the high fragrance because that's the characteristic of this Phoenix Mountain Oolong Tea.
And you know, the funny thing is that of the three cities that are closest to Phoenix Mountain, there's Chaozhou City, there's Jieyang and Shantou. Now, these two cities before, they didn't really like Phoenix Mountain Oolong Tea that much. They liked Tieguanyin, which is very floral and very light flavor.
Yeah.
And the Phoenix Mountain Tea was kind of like, yeah, we can take it or leave it, but that baked flavor, we don't like it so much. But in Chaozhou City, that was the standard. The reason is they needed shelf stability. There were no freezers, there were no refrigerators.
Yeah.
The tea would change constantly. So in order to combat that, they had to bake it. The baking it forced oxidation, oxidized out, and changed the flavor and fragrance molecules from floral to baked. Well, people in Jieyang and Shantou said, sorry, we don't want that tea. We like the light floral notes of Tieguanyin. Then, all of a sudden, about 4 or 5 years ago, according to the locals, tea shop owners in Jieyang and Shantou, they started experimenting, and they started getting what was called the lighter baked tea. And this tea in order to keep it from changing, what did they do? Yes, they put it in the refrigerator or the freezer. Most of them in the freezer. So when you go to Jia Young and Chantal now, what do the tea shop owners say? Phoenix Mountain Oolong Tea is number one. That's what their customers like the best. But it's a different tea than you'll taste in Chaozhou City. When I went with Jonathan to Phoenix to Chaozhou in 2019, it's one of our friends. He's also a chemist, by the way.
Yes.
He and I went together, and he was tasting the tea, and he's like, "This is Phoenix Mountain Tea. What did they do to it?" I said, "Shelf stability." And he immediately
it's heavily roasted. Yeah.
He said, "They've destroyed it. This is just terrible. I don't want to drink any more of this tea at all." He didn't like it at all because he's not a local. I'm not a local. The locals there prefer it heavily baked because that's what they're used to. That's shelf stability to them.
Yeah, it kind of loses the fragrance. It did goes a little smoother, thicker texture, but why lose the fragrance?
That's the most important thing about the Phoenix Mountain Oolong Tea is that floral fragrance and floral flavor, and that's why I love it so much.
Yeah.
Because, and that's the first time I ever had this tea that I really loved. We were on the mountain. They had just baked it
That's
the first
the honeysuckle.
That was the honeysuckle. They had just baked it the first time. I smelled it and tasted it and said, this is perfect for me. This is absolute perfection for me.
When we're making tea on the mountain, it's like people's house, and very small road. And when you walk on that road, you can just smell. You didn't even go in the house yet. You can just smell that really, just so many flowers and fruity and honey-like fragrance. It just makes me so happy. I'll say Phoenix Mountain is the the place, the tea mountain. When we're making tea, I would like to go the most. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And in fact, in order to preserve that and that was over 20 years ago that I tasted that tea. And in order to preserve that, Ivy and our growers and I have been working really hard over the years to figure out how to bake it, get to do that. Well, the one caveat was, it doesn't matter how we baked it, it was still going to change until we put it in the freezer. And the locals were very much against that. No, don't put it in the freezer. No. And then we put it in the freezer and they tasted it and said, oh, well, maybe the freezer's not too bad. You guys may be onto something here. What do you know? So the thing is that it preserves the fragrance up to a certain point. It's still going to change no matter what you do. Things still change in the freezer, but very, very
a lot slower.
Slowly, yes, very, very, very slowly. It took a lot of trial and error to get that right. And well, I mean, look at the results. Jia Young and Chantal, they like the same thing. And if you go there and taste the teas there and you taste our teas, so, hey, it's similar. It's, but if you go to Chaozhou, not every place in Chaozhou, but a lot of them, you go there, you're like, my God, that's baked. What did you do?
Yeah.
What did they do? They achieved shelf stability, which is their goal. So congratulations to them. But we've achieved shelf stability in a different way that we find a lot more pleasurable.
Chaozhou, people in Chaozhou City kind of get used to it, the heavily baked one. But of course, they like that's why every year, well, people buy tea like crazy right after it got harvested and baked the first time. Yeah, because
that's when it tastes the best. Absolutely.
Who's the fastest?
Absolutely. So, strongly recommend, in summary, trying this tea Gongfu style. You'll really enjoy it. It's my favorite tea of all. If you don't like floral flavors, maybe give it a shot anyway, because this may change your mind. It isn't that sickeningly sweet, like really cheap perfume kind of floral flavor. It's a really smooth, rich, deep, uplifting floral flavor.
Yes, and complex.
It's very complex. It's just wonderful. So that's what makes it my favorite tea of all. And I'll never stop drinking this tea.
Yeah. Also, the body reaction is really good. The high mountain feeling. Phoenix Mountain Oolong Tea, I would say, are the one that have the most the high mountain feeling, the body reaction. Some of the like a really good raw pu'er tea like Lao Banjiang, those will have really good body reaction too. But I mean, it's different type of tea, but it's the body reaction you can physically feel right away.
And for me, this provides the most mental clarity because
the energy.
The most energy, the most mental clarity. It just gets me in just the right mood and just the right mindset.
Yeah.
And just all I need to do is show you my smile.
Yeah. Just make you happy.
Thank you so much for watching, and next time we'll be brewing more teas and giving you our comments, and I'll be probably smiling not quite as much, but almost.
Thank you. At the end of this video, we want to show you how the leaves looks like after every brew. It opens up more and more and more, just like what James showed on the bread. It absorbs more water, and also it brings out more flavor and fragrance molecules. That's why you can experience the changing after every brew. So please do the Gongfu tea style and enjoy the tea.